Hey, this is Susie Nelson. Welcome back to this third video in this sequence where I'm explaining some of the ways you need to shift your thinking to go from just thinking about profits at a party this week to a long-term, how am I going to be strategically building my six-figure business? And that's really what I'm talking about. So let's do a quick review. First, I talked about why you don't need to book more parties. Instead, you need to get out of that consultant roller coaster where you just keep booking with the same hostesses over and over and over again. And you need to book parties with new hostesses because each one of those hostesses is your path to one or several new team members. Next, I talked about creating a vacuum. It's really powerful for you when you are so confident that you can put more bookings on your calendar. And when you give away some of those bookings that are with those repeat hostesses, it creates an opening and a vacuum on your calendar. And that means new bookings are going to flow into your calendar. And that's my 3-party rule. If I've booked with a hostess 3 or more times, I'm either going to work to sponsor that person or I'm going to work to give that party away to one of my top consultants in my downline. Now remember, I'm a business growth strategist. That's what I am the very best at in the home party business, is helping consultants map out their path to get to 6 figures and beyond quickly. Now in this video, I want to talk about 2 things. First, a different way to think about bookings, and short-term versus 6-figure thinking. Now, I want to give you a little bit different way to look at a party. When a consultant starts, most of her focus is to book her first parties. She's all excited, possibly thinking, can I get parties on my calendar? So that's kind of that first step in her business development. After all, many start the business just to make a little bit of extra part-time cash. But eventually, most will master those booking skills. But in a 6-figure world, a booking is simply one part of your sponsoring process. So let me give you a great example. I love to work women's expo booths. It's been a huge source of great leads for my business. And it also helped me launch my business because I moved to cities where I didn't know a soul, actually states where I didn't know a soul, 5 different times when I was building my business. So I was always starting over in those cities. So I love to work women's expo booths. But when I do those booths, I learned this after doing several and making some mistakes. My total focus when I work a booth is on filling my calendar with bookings. In fact, at one booth, I booked 21 parties right at the booth, and that's a whole nother story. But I don't ever want to be selling my products at the booth. You see, I want them to earn those products as a hostess. So if I'm just there selling the products, that's not helping me get that person on my calendar. So I always want to be working to book them as a hostess to earn those products instead of just buying them and having just that little pinch of cash from that sale. But then on the other part of the spectrum, I also don't put up signs talking about sponsoring consultants. In fact, if somebody approaches me at the booth and wants to learn more about signing as a consultant, my response is, that's wonderful. Let's schedule a time to get together so I can tell you more about the business. But in the meantime, the very best way for you to learn about our business is by booking a party first. Now, here's why I take that approach. Before they consider signing as a consultant, they need to see a presentation. They need to look at it from that perspective of, is this something I can do? And they need to get feedback from their friends and family who are going to be at that party, right? But here's the other thing. if they don't sign, I want to network into 10 to 15 of their connections, right? Because eventually that's going to lead me to some new team members. So that's the best strategic way for my business. It all starts with a booking. So in my six-figure world, all roads lead to bookings. But remember, again, those are always bookings with new hostesses. See how this all works? New hostesses or new prospects, because to me, they're all prospects. We discuss the business prior to her party if possible. It doesn't always work that way, but prior to her party if possible. Now the hostess watches the party from the "can I do this" perspective, gets feedback from her family and friends, and now the party is my closing tool. Now I can sit down at the end of the party and say, all right, now that you took all that in and got some information and feedback from your family and friends, should we go ahead and fill out your paperwork tonight? It's a closing tool. So that's my system for keeping my business strong, at the same time networking, and at the same time sponsoring tons of consultants. It's a system. So to shift from short-term to six-figure thinking, the party initially, when you started your business, was your way to earn some extra cash and profits. And it might still be some cash that you need for your family's expenses. But you want to shift. Now start thinking of your party as your foundation for your sponsoring system. And now, yes, you'll continue to make that cash that you need, but now that you're building that other part of your income, that will become less and less important in the big picture of your business. That's why you don't need to schedule more parties. You need to schedule parties with new hostesses. So this is just one example of shifting to six-figure thinking. Now, I know it might seem to be a very subtle shift, but you'll be amazed how it impacts your business. So, are you ready to build your business bigger and faster? Because that's just one example. I have a whole playbook of strategies that help you shift to six-figure thinking. Now, I've got some really exciting news. So I want to ask you to watch the video below because that's going to explain everything. But watch that below and really be thinking about ways you can be shifting your business. All right? So go ahead, click the play button below and watch that info.